I will always eat my own mistakes, and I know it's not just me because I see others do it too. You stand there in front of a dinner spread that you made and you purposefully pick the plate of food that just didn't turn out as good. That piece of chicken that I know I overcooked, the quesadilla I kind of burnt, the bell pepper I absolutely obliterated. And this always happens with burger buns, because inevitably I seem to always burn at least one. It's the cook's obligation, so give me that bun, I made the mistake, I'll eat the mistake. That way I can turn this mild culinary masochism into a learning opportunity. Toasting buns on the barbecue is quick and you can do a lot of them, but they're never as good as griddled buns. The other night, I put together a bit of a wacky chicken shawarma burger for family dinner and it ended up being a workflow disaster. But all I had to do for the burger buns was throw them on the grill. Minimal effort. It was kind of nice because it takes a whole component of the meal and scratches any real work off the list. Kind of like having your meat in the fridge, marinating and ready to go. It's a mental check mark on one part of dinner. A low effort task that frees you up to channel energy elsewhere. All it took was opening up a bag of store-bought buns, splitting them and toasting them on the barbecue as the last step before yelling that dinner is ready. In theory, a toasted bun is dead simple. Chuck them on the grill for about 30 seconds to a minute, that's it. But grilling a bun on the barbecue doesn't actually yield great results. Much like a toaster or an oven, a barbecue produces really dry circulating heat, especially a kettle grill filled with some white hot hardwood charcoal, which will absolutely torch bread in a second. So you have to watch the buns like a hawk, but even then, you'll never get a golden brown. You're more likely to get like a slightly dull brown burnt thing like these buns. I put a lot of time into everything else. Not that it turned out perfectly, but the dry, toasted, semi-burnt buns further drop the overall quality of an already experimental meal. This is why good burger joints are griddling their buns. It's superior. When you griddle bread in a skillet, the entire piece is directly in contact with a highly conductive heat source. Whereas with the barbecue, you're getting a little direct contact on the grates, but it's mostly that circulating hot air. Personally, I don't mind a little char, but I do mind a lot and I'd rather not have to eat it. With griddling, the heat source is a hot metal surface that will transfer heat to the bread pretty much only where it contacts the pan. And obviously, professional griddlers use a layer of fat, usually butter, because griddling in a dry pan isn't griddling, it's something else. All of this protects the bread from drying out while producing a serious golden crust. This is my ideal way to prep bread for a sandwich. I'll run through it with a breakfast sandwich example. Make sure you have a flat surface so that you get really even contact. Even though stuck on little bacon bits can screw things up, you can scrape them away and add some butter, which usually works, but the safer bet is to clean them off or grab another pan so you have an unfettered flat surface to griddle on. Very gentle, even heat is also key. Varieties of bread vary in sturdiness, and you need to match the weight of the pressure you apply to the robustness of the bread you chose. A burger bun is pretty delicate, so the pressure of your clawed hand is the only tactile way to get good contact without crushing the bun. A sturdy piece of bread like this requires a bit more weight. If you don't have those fancy chef weights, you can use a glass Tupperware or get creative. Something like a sourdough baguette will need a lot more weight to get the contact you need for a golden crust. Griddling through a pool of fat does three things. First, it creates a seal that protects your bread from wet toppings so that your sandwich is less likely to crumble and fall apart in your hands. Second, you get great flavor from browning butter. And third, it adds a bit of a crispy texture. The interior of a sandwich might go a bit crispy soggy, which honestly I think is its own great texture, but the perimeter edge of the bun retains a pretty good crisp. So you're getting contrast between the golden textures on the interior, but you're also getting contrast between the inside of the griddled bread and the soft steamed exterior, because the uncooked top of the bread will be gently steamed by the heat and moisture rising off the layer of bread and butter against the hot pan. You can actually see this happening from the collection of little droplets that formed on the glass Tupperware, and in the moisture that builds up under the raw side of the bread resting on the cutting board. The problem with griddling is that doing this for a family dinner is a pain. Feasible, but only just. It's not impossible. You could put a pan on the barbecue, especially if you have one of these griddle pans, or you could pan toast all the buns inside before grilling, but none of that really makes sense when 1, the barbecue is already going to be hot, 2, I'm already going to be standing around out here, and 3, this is dish free and quick. So the goal for tonight's dinner is to toast the buns on the barbecue and to gild them, not burn them. To accomplish that, prep the buns by spreading on an even layer of butter. This is best done with warm, spreadable butter. You get full coverage with a very thin layer. Spreading cold butter on a bun will also tear it apart. It's winter here, so I like to put my butter in an oven with the light on to warm it up so that it's spreadable. If you forgot to soften your butter, then melt it and brush it on. Be liberal. Make sure every inch is coated. The fat in the butter acts as an insulating shield against the heat of the grill. So if you see a dry patch, give it a dab of melted butter. With everything prepped, I'll cook my burgers. This time I'm going with very lean venison meat ground with pork belly. Once the burgers are cooked, shift them to the indirect zone of heat. Put some cheese on, lid on to melt, then onto the buns. I started with 2 at a time, which was still too quick, so I went down to 1 at a time. Gently press the buns into the grill with your hands or with a spatula. The pressure will promote even coloring. Don't be scared to take them off to check the color. Extreme heat cooking gets frantic, and composure is key to success. I'm working over blazing hot charcoal, but if you're using a gas grill, make sure the heat is on high because you want this to go quick lest you dry out the bread. And definitely don't keep your buns warm on the indirect heat zone of the grill. Resting meat or melting cheese here is fine, but for burger buns, it's a total desiccation zone. So once they're done, take them off the grill. Afterwards, you can build a stack of top bun, bottom bun, burger patty. This will warm and revive the buns, plus it's an elegant ready-to-top vessel you can hand to guests. This has been an overly complicated way to remind you to always butter your buns, especially if they're going out to the grill. The funny thing is that this doesn't really solve my problem because there's still going to be a variance of quality across a single dinner pretty much no matter what I do. This burger was overcooked, a little too cheesy, slightly cold, and not as saucy as I would like. Kind of dry overall. But it's a video about bread, so those are future problems to solve. As for the cook's obligation, I don't think that can really ever be solved. So yeah, give me the burnt bun. No, I swear, that's how I like it. It's just uber carbonized. It's perfect.